Sarah calls the dentist and asks what it would cost to have a wisdom tooth extracted. And the dentist responds and says it's about 2,000 rand. And Sarah says that's quite expensive. Is there any way to cut down the price? So after a while of thinking, the dentist says, you know what, if we cut out the anesthetic, I can do it for 1,500. And Sarah says, sir, can you do it for any less, any way? And the dentist says, I'll tell you what, I've never done this before, but if we don't use an anesthetic and I just pull out the tooth with a pair of pliers, I can do it for 1,000 rand. And Sarah persists and says, please, there must be some way to cut this cost further. To which the dentist responds and says, listen, if I let one of my students do it without an anesthetic, with a pair of pliers, we can do it for 500 rand. And Sarah says, great, please book my husband for next week Tuesday. Sometimes an act of kindness is not exactly what it seems. And yet there is still nothing more powerful than helping another person. In this week's Torah reading, a double portion of Chukat and Balak, as the Jews are about to enter the land of Israel, Moses is afraid. He's afraid of Og, the giant, who is the king of the nation of Bashan. And he's afraid that if they face them in battle, they'll struggle to succeed over Og and his nation Bashan. And God reassures Moses and says, do not worry, just as you have succeeded and been victorious in all the battles up until this point, I will bless you with success in this battle against Og as well. Why was Moses worried? Surely he knew that God was on their side. Surely he knew that he had great merits upon which to rely. Well, Og also had a merit. What was the merit of this great giant Og? Years earlier, he had helped Abraham. Avram Avinu, our forefather's nephew, Lot, was captured in battle, and he came to inform Abraham that his nephew had been taken captive, and Abraham went into battle and was able to rescue him. But the sages tell us that Og had tremendous ulterior motives in doing so. The reason he told Abraham about his nephew being taken captive is because he had hoped that Abraham would, in an effort to free him, die himself in battle. Og fancied Sarah for himself as a wife, and he was hoping that if Abraham was, God forbid, killed in battle, he would be able to take Sarah as his own wife. That was his motive and intention in coming to inform Abraham that his nephew Lot had been taken captive. Tremendous ulterior motive. And yet, years later, centuries later, Moses was still worried that in the merit of this one act of kindness, which Og, the giant, had performed for Abraham, God would support him in battle in the Jews, and he was afraid that this merit would help him defend his nation against the Jews, would help them be victorious over the Jews. That's how powerful an act of kindness is, to the point that Moses was finally for the first time afraid about facing another nation in battle because of the merit that he had earned through this one act of kindness, an act of kindness that was not legitimate, was not sincere, and he was doing it for his own sake. But at the end of the day, he helped Abraham, because Abraham was in fact successful in freeing his nephew Lot from captivity, thanks to the information that he got from Og. Information that came with an agenda, no doubt. But at the end of the day, it helped him. It worked in his favor. It turned out to be an act of kindness. Such is the power of an act of kindness. When we help another person, we merit God's protection. Moses was worried that the merit of this protection would in fact protect them against the Jews as they were making their entry into the land of Israel. That is how great the measure of protection we earn when we help another person. So as we are facing an uphill climb against this coronavirus infection rate in South Africa, and as many people are sadly falling ill, and we need to take every human measure possible to protect ourselves, I encourage each one of you to stay home as much as you can to avoid any unnecessary exposure, and to let me know if we can be of assistance in any way whatsoever. At the same time, another great strategic approach to remaining safe and to earning and meriting the protection of Hashem is to help another person. Even in the comforts of our own homes, even in lockdown, to reach out and to help those in need as much as we can. And please God, in the merits of our kindness and the merits of all the good deeds that we do, Hashem should protect each of us and should keep us safe, and particularly should bring a refuah shlema, a complete and speedy recovery to all those that have been affected, and particularly those in our community, to Matzliach ben Allegra, to Daniel ben Esther, to Yosef Avram ben Yehudit, To Chizkiyahu ben Sarah and Matania bat Ashna, we wish all of them and the entire world, Urefuah Shleima, I wish all of you Shabbat Shalom. We're thinking of you and wishing you all the very best.